Sir, you can start, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I, Ajit Ravikant Jakar, on my personal behalf and on behalf of Barrister Sheshrao Wankhede Mahavidyalaya Mohpa, Dr. M.K. Umathe College Nagpur, Nabira Mahavidyalaya Katol, and Jawaharlal Nehru Arts, Commerce and Science College Wadi Nagpur, extend a very warm welcome to one and all present here on this virtual platform. Dear friends and students, we have congregated here for a 14-day BA Semester 4 Compulsory English Online Classes 2021-22. And I once again welcome you all to this inaugural function of this two-week online program. Let me first of all introduce the conveners of this program. My own principal, Dr. M.V. Kolle, Principal Barrister Sheshrao Wankhede Mahavidyalaya Mohpa. I request him to chair this inaugural function.
Thank you.
Dr. D.V. Naik, Principal Dr. M.K. Umathe College Nagpur, is another convener. My elder brother, Dr. S.K. Naveen, Principal Nabira Mahavidyalaya, is also one of the conveners, whereas Dr. Mrs. Kalpana Borkar, officiating Principal Jawaharlal Nehru Arts, Commerce and Science College, is the fourth convener of this program. I welcome you all conveners, and let me now welcome and introduce the chief guest of this inaugural function, Dr. Urmila Devi, who, as the pamphlet goes, is Chairman, Board of Studies in English, Faculty of Humanities, Rashtra Sant Tukdoji Maharaj Nagpur, Nagpur University, Nagpur. But friends, this is just one of the posts she is holding right now. There is a list of posts she is working simultaneously on, and it's a great privilege of mine to introduce such a wonderful personality to all of you. First of all, she is Principal and Head of Department of English of Rajkumar Keval Ramani Kanya Mahavidyalaya Jaripatka Nagpur, who has a rich teaching experience of over 30 years, both huge undergraduate and postgraduate. An administrative experience of more than 13 years. There are several honors conferred upon her. She was awarded Dr. R. Radhakrishnan Gold Medal for Best Principal by RTM Nagpur University in 2019. She was awarded Best Teacher by Rashtra Sant Tukaji Maharaj Nagpur University in 2013. Educational Excellence Award by Indo-Thai Forum for contribution in the field of education in 2011. Contingent leader of NSS of Maharashtra and Goa for Republic Day Parade, New Delhi 2000. These are just a few amongst many awards she has been conferred upon. The positions, as I told you, she holds are one too many. As the pamphlet says, she is currently the chairman of Board of Studies in English of Rashtra Sant Tukaji Maharaj Nagpur University, Nagpur. Besides that, she is a Senate member, she is a management council, she is a standing committee member, she is an executive council member, and the list goes on. There are at least 20 positions she is holding right now, and all coveted positions, all very, very important positions. And there is hardly there will be a person in the university section, in the higher education sector of Vidarbha, who might not have heard her name. So we are quite lucky to have her here as the chief guest of today's program. Then we have amongst us my fellow coordinators, young Dr. Vaishali Meshram from Dr. M.K. Umathe College, Nagpur, Dr. Pramod Salame from Nabira Mahavidyalaya, Katol, Dr. Leena Phate from Jawaharlal Nehru Arts, Commerce and Science College, Wadi, Nagpur, and many more teacher friends. Dear friends and students, for brevity of time, I'll cut down a couple of things and straightway call upon Honorable Dr. Urmila Dabir ma'am to say a few words. It's over to you, Dr. Dabir ma'am.
Thank you very much, Ajit, for your generous introduction. The Honorable Principals, Dr. Kole, Dr. D.V. Naik, Dr. S.K. Naveen, and Dr. Mrs. Borikar. The convener for these online courses, Dr. Leena Phate, Dr. Salame, Dr. Vaishali Meshram, and Dr. Ajit Jachak. All the resource persons and dear students. I think nearly for 2 years now, the pandemic has tested our patience, perseverance, strength, both physical, mental, and I will say emotional also. And for that matter, all our emotions are tested and tried by the pandemic. And if you look at all these 2 years, we see a sea change in all walks of life. And I think even our personality, our way of thinking, working, has also undergone a lot of change. We have seen the loss of life of our near and dear ones, our colleagues, and the void that has been left can never be filled now. But life has to move on and the show has to go on. When the pandemic started, everything was in mess, we can say. Initially, even the teachers did not know what was happening and how should we reach our students. That was the biggest question. And I think that was the most biggest hurdle that we had. But technology came to our rescue. And with the technology, we started with online classes. We were learners for that, actually. We didn't know. And initially, I felt the teachers were hesitant to use it. But then once they got the technology to their rescue, there was no looking back. We have seen so many e-classes going on, which has definitely helped the teachers and the students also. Even the teacher's personality has undergone a change and they can face the e-class now very confidently. I've seen the teachers grow, and that is, I think, the best thing that has happened to all our English teachers. And e-classes came, then it was followed by e-content also, because we had online examinations and the pattern of examination was completely different. MCQs were there. The students were not aware of it. Clusters were formed and platform was created for teaching and learning process, we can say. Now, there was one more hurdle because of many economic crises that had taken place. The students had started working, so they could not attend the live classes. For that, we used to stream it on the YouTube. So with their convenience, they could attend those classes on YouTube. So this flexibility was there. And the e-content, as I said, helped them for appearing for their examinations. I'm very happy that the departments of English of Principal Sheshrao Wankhede College, Mohpa, Dr. M.K. Umathe College, Nagpur, Nabira Mahavidyalaya, Katol, and Jawaharlal Nehru Arts, Commerce, Science College, Wadi have come together. And forming a cluster has many, many advantages. You get human resource, there is sharing, and there is also exchange of ideas of the students also. They come to know each other. So one of the colleges from Nagpur, one is from Wadi, then another is from Mohpa, another is from Katol. So this exchange is there. This diverse exchange takes place. So I congratulate all these 4 colleges for conducting online classes for BA 4th semester for compulsory English. And I especially congratulate Dr. Jachak for taking a lead of it. And I said, the beauty of these classes lies in the diverse students coming together. And they also have one more advantage, that they have an exposure for teaching from different teachers from different colleges. This is also very new for them, and they enjoy it because they're used to only one teacher, and this exchange takes place between one teacher and the other student. But now they have different teachers. And when these classes had started, the students had called for e-content. And I'm very happy to say from this platform that because of the e-content, I think we have given end to the guide culture that had developed. I think it should end, because we should provide with them whatever the students need. So I sincerely hope that the colleges will be bubbling with the hustle and bustle of the students soon, because we miss our students very much. Those empty classrooms, I think it is more than enough now. So the students will definitely come, and there will be hustle and bustle, and so much of, you can say, vigor is there when the students are there in the college. I wish the endeavor of all these 4 colleges a great success, and I'm grateful to Ajit for inviting me for this program. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It won't be wrong to say that we are just treading the path shown by you. You have been doing it for the last 2 years, and I have been fortunate enough to be a part of almost every single endeavor conducted in the past.
I think from this platform, I would like to say that you have to take forward this legacy now, because I'm on verge of retirement. So you have to take forward this legacy now.
I'll surely try to do my level best. That much I can assure you. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank
you. Friends, moving forward and looking at the clock, the organizers have decided to hear one convener, that is on representative basis, and hence may I now call upon my own principal, who is chairing this session, Dr. M.B. Kole, to say a few words. Over to you, Dr. Kole. लीलाधर, त्यांचा माईक ऑन करून दे. साहेबांचा लगेच, भलत्याच वेळी गायब आहे.
गुड मॉर्निंग ऑल ऑफ यू. आवाज येत आहे? आवाज येऊन राहिला?
येत आहे सर, येत आहे.
येत आहे ना? केलं आहे. ठीक. गुड मॉर्निंग सर, ऑल ऑफ यू. The chief guest of this inaugural function, Honorable Dr. Nabira Madam, my fellow conveners, and my friends, Dr. Naik Sir, Dr. M.K. Umathe College, Nagpur, Dr. Naveen Sir, Nabira Mahavidyalaya, Katol, and Borkar Madam, Arts, Commerce and Science College, Wadi. All the four coordinators of this BA semester, fourth compulsory English online classes 2021-22, Dr. Jachak, Dr. Sheshrao, Dr. Salame, Dr. Phate, teachers from various colleges who are present now, and my dear students, it's indeed a privilege to chair such an important and useful event. I must congratulate the English teaching fraternity of our university who has been engaging online classes for the student ever since the pandemic hit the world. The students are also provided the complete study material. I know our college through Dr. Jachak has always been a part of such endeavors in the past. But this time we are among the organizers, which is quite heartening. Our college would like to organize many more collaborative events like this in future. I take this opportunity to ask the student to take full advantage of this online program and secure maximum marks. I wish luck to all the four coordinators for the success of this program and to dear students for their university examination. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kole. Dear friends and students, we have reached a point in time which marks the beginning of the end of this inaugural function of this BA semester 4 compulsory English online classes 2021-22. And I invite Dr. Mrs. Vaishali Meshram to propose a formal vote of thanks. Over to you, Dr. Meshram.
Thank you so much, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
very
yes,
much.
madam.
Henry Van Dyke has rightly remarked that gratitude is the inward feeling of kindness received. Thankfulness is the international impulse to express that feeling, and thanksgiving is nothing but following that impulse. Respected dignitaries of today's inaugural function, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Chief Guest, respected conveners, coordinators, esteemed resource persons, technical staff, and my dear students. A very pleasant morning to one and all who have converged virtually for the 2-week online classes 2021-22 on the syllabus of BA Semester 4 Compulsory English prescribed by Rashtrasanta Guruji Maharaj, Nagpur University, Nagpur, jointly organized by the 4 ACE institutions of Katol and Nagpur. I deem it a great honor and privilege for having been asked me to propose a vote of thanks today on this memorable occasion. First and foremost, I, on the behalf of the organizing team of the cluster colleges and on my own behalf, wish to extend my heartfelt thanks to the chairperson of today's inaugural session and one of the conveners of this venture, Honorable Dr. M.B. Kule, Principal Barrister Sheshrao Wankhede Mahavidyalaya Mohpa for gracing the occasion and blessing us with his invaluable words of wisdom. Thank you so much, sir. I now wish to take this opportunity to express my sincere and deep sense of gratitude to our most valued and revered chief guest of today's inaugural session, Honorable Dr. Urmila Dabir Madam, Principal Rajkumar Kevalramani Kanya Mahavidyalaya Nagpur, and the Chairperson of Board of Studies in English, Faculty of Humanities, RTM Nagpur University, Nagpur, for accepting our invitation and for being here with us today. Despite her busy schedule, ma'am, your precious words of encouragement have truly enlightened our minds and inspired us. We will need your blessings in our future endeavors as well. Thank you so much, ma'am. I now wish to extend my special thanks to the esteemed conveners of this great lecture, Honorable Dr. S.K. Naveen, sir, Principal Nabira Mahavidyalaya Katol, Honorable Dr. Mrs. K.S. Bolkar, Madam, Officiating Principal, Jawaharlal Nehru Arts, Commerce and Science College, Wadi, Nagpur, and Honorable Dr. D.V. Naik, sir, Principal Dr. M.K. Umathe College, Nagpur, for their unstinted support, guidance, and encouragement in all our efforts. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am. I also wish to extend my heartfelt thanks to the invited resource persons for their involvement and their willingness to take on this completion of tasks. You have always been generous with your time when students need you, no matter what. Thank you so much. I now like to place on record my hearty thanks to the coordinators, Honorable Dr. Ajit Rajat sir, Honorable Dr. Pramod Salame sir, and respected Dr. Lina Fate madam for their valuable contribution and wonderful teamwork. Ladies and gentlemen, an event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues with their enormous cooperation. Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, I would be failing in my duty if I did not thank the technical staff and those who worked hard behind the screen for their technical support for the smooth conduct of the event like this. Thank you, everyone. Finally, I appreciate our beloved students who are present virtually in large number. I appeal you all to grab this wonderful opportunity and get enlightened and benefited by the scholarly lessons of all, sessions of all the resource persons. Happy learning, dear friends. With this, I take your leave. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all once again. Over to you, Dr. Rajat. Sir, kindly unmute yourself. Yes.
Thank you, Vaishali ma'am. Thank you very much. And with this, with the permission of the chair, I now declare that the inaugural session is over. But dear students, in the next 5 minutes, the first academic session to be conducted by Dr. Archana Deshmukh will be underway. So stay tuned. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
Namaskar,
Thank you,
madam.
ma'am.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank you, Dr. Jachak.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
And Dr. Deshmukh Madam is most welcome to make her presentation.
Thank you, sir.
And I do hope that it will be really a wonderful one.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your
And
wishes.
Students
Thank you, sir.
students will be hugely benefited, you see.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Apur? Apur?
हेलो सर.
हाँ, इनको अर्चना मैडम को ये अभी ब्रेक नहीं लेते, ऑलरेडी
Okay.
10 बज चुके हैं,
Okay, okay,
तो लेटर बिगिन आवर क्लास.
okay, sir.
Yes, I'm ready to.
Okay, sir.
So, Dr. Parimal,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
please come in.
Yes.
It's over to you now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce today's resource person. Uh, Today's resource person is Dr. Archana Deshmukh, Madam, who is working as an assistant professor of English in Jawaharlal Nehru Arts, Commerce and Science College, Wadi. She has a huge teaching experience of 21 years at undergraduate level. The title of her doctoral thesis is Jim Corbett, an evaluation of his personality in the light of his work. She has published 17 research papers in reputed research journals. She has to her credit 10 research papers presented in various conferences and seminars. She has also published 3 research papers in conference proceedings. She was also invited as a resource person in 2 conferences. Apart from that, she has shouldered many administrative responsibilities, but primarily she has worked as a NAC coordinator, placement officer, and entrepreneurship cell coordinator in her college, along with other responsibilities that were given to her. So this is the brief introduction. Sir, I have specifically shortened my introduction because keeping in mind the time, and due to the joint venture of 4 colleges, this online lecture series has started, and I am extremely thankful to Dr. Ajit Jachak sir, the chief coordinator, along with Dr. Vaishali Meshram, Dr. Pramod Salame sir, Dr. Lina Fateh madam, who due to whose efforts this online lecture series has taken place. Now it's over to you, Dr. Archana Deshmukh madam, who is going to speak on the title, The Last Salvation, which is a story which pointing out the harsh realities of life. So over to you, Dr. Deshmukh madam, Archana Deshmukh madam.
Thank you, Dr. Parimal Dogre, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Clearly?
Okay.
Okay. So good morning to one and all present, respected principals of the organizing colleges, Dr. Kole sir, Naik sir, Dr. Naveen sir, and Dr. Borkar madam. And I also, yes, and respected Dr. Jachak sir, teaching faculties from various colleges, and dear students. At the outset, I wish to congratulate the organizing team for conducting this wonderful online teaching program for BA 4th SEM Compulsory English. Online teaching has definitely become an integral part of academic existence, and programs like this will definitely deliver benefit to students in learning process. I also wish to express my sense of gratitude towards the organizing team for making me a part of this teaching program. And so dear students, let us begin with the first lesson from Unit 1. That is a short story, The Last Salvation by R.P. Sisodia. Let me share the screen. Is it visible?
Yes, madam, it is visible.
Okay. So, dear students, welcome to these online classes. And this is the first topic today you are going to learn from 4th semester, lesson 1, The Last Salvation. Now, just a short introduction of the writer, R.P. Sisodia. He hails from Rajasthan and joined Indian Administrative Services in 1991. He has been an avid reader, writer, painter, and a yoga enthusiast, and also a great swimmer. He has served in different cadres of central services, but the most important one is recently he is appointed as the Chief Secretary to the Governor of Andhra Pradesh. So a short introduction. Now about the story, The Last Salvation is from his collection, World Lost and Other Stories. It is a very, we can say, thought-provoking story and depicts the harsh reality of the modern or urban society where children forget the love, care given to them by their parents. They forget about the sacrifices made by their parents and badly treat them in the old age. This story invokes a socially relevant question too, as to why the number of old age orphans are increasing, why the number of old age homes are increasing everywhere in the world. Now, these are the main characters in the story. Motibai, then the narrator who is younger son of Motibai, then Babulal, Motibai's husband, who is actually, we can say, a minor character, then the elder son of Motibai and elder daughter-in-law of Motibai, that is Bada Beta and Badi Bahu. These are also minor characters. Then there is Bhati, who is the younger daughter-in-law of Motibai, Choti Bahu, and Raghu, who is a grandson of Motibai, the son of narrator and the Bharti. So these are the main characters in the story. Yes. Now the text, I have tried to incorporate the main part of the text in the PPTs so that the student can get a glimpse of it. Now the story is narrated into different time periods. The writer uses the technique of flashback. In the first part, the story begins with an event which occurred about 40 years ago. The narrator is the younger son of Motibai, who used to live in a small village named Rewari in Haryana. Okay, as the text goes, about 40 years ago, the village of Rewari, situated in the northern part of Haryana, used to be a small village of about 400 families. The story opens with a scene when Motibai, her husband, and 2 children lived in a small hut in Rewari. It was a very small village at that time. And as usual, a case with the Indian village woman, her life was very hard. She used to work throughout the day. And here the writer has depicted an event during monsoon when one night Motibai went to sleep on a mat in her hut. The narrator was a 6-month baby and was sleeping with his mother. Her husband Babulal was also sleeping in another corner of the hut with the elder son. And suddenly, all of a sudden, since it was a monsoon, it started raining very heavily. It started raining heavily. And the tiled roof of the small hut was no match for the heavy buffeting of the rain. And within moments, within minutes, the whole hut was drenched. There was no dry place left as it rained heavily and drenched the hut. Now the child of the 6 months started crying to inform the mother about the situation, who woke up and searched a safe place for the baby. She found one small dry patch fit for the size of the baby. She somehow managed to change the clothes, made him lie on the mat, and started patting him gently on the back. Now the rest of the hut was dripping from all sides, right? And Babulal, whereas Babulal, the husband and the elder son were fast asleep and rainwater could not disturb their sleep. Motibai lay down beside the baby, giving the warmth of her body to him, the pouring water incessantly drenching her body. Motibai somehow managed to cuddle the baby to give him the warmth of her body and protected the child but the pouring water drenched her all night. Now here we can see that Motibai's sacrifice for her child and her family is unmatched. In this process, she suffers, makes sacrifices. Now, this incident explicitly depicts the love of her mother. Still, she was happy in her heart, as the narrator says. She was happy in heart at having found a small patch, a dry patch for her child. That was the reason for her happiness. And it doesn't mind whether she is wet all the night. Now, the next day, Motibai suffered from intense fever due to drenching on previous night. But still, she continued working for her family as usual. She proceeded to clean the hut, plastered it with mud, cooked the food, and washed the clothes. She had developed a fever, but she was satisfied that she could protect her baby. And as the narrator says, she was used to work in illness and her life never had any holidays. Here he says she was used to working even during illness and her life knew no holidays or breaks. She kept on working like this for years together. Time rolled on and Motibai grew older and older. So here the first part of the story ends. Now the writer has depicted only one incident, but that description is sufficient enough to show the love and care of a mother and to what extent a mother can go to protect her children. Now here the scene changes. A span of 40 years has passed. Now Motibai is an old woman. Things have changed drastically or to a great extent. And here the second part opens with an incident, with a scene. The narrator says, 40 years later, in the twilight of a chilly mid-December morning, when the entire town of Rewari was fast asleep, a small semi-urban, semi-rural household reverberated with the coughing and sneezing of an old woman, making a young, voluptuous sleeping body smart at this unwanted intrusion into her reverie. Now, as we can see, it is a cold December night and it's Haryana. We can imagine the temperature. And an old woman is continuously coughing in a small house in Rewari, disturbing the sleep of a young lady. Now, this coughing old woman is Motibai. Then who is the young lady? Now here we come to know that the young lady is Bharti, Motibai's younger daughter-in-law. Now, as we can see that she starts shouting and cursing her old mother-in-law. You bloody mother, I should have known before marrying you that I was venturing into a sleepless future. What a waste of life it is to live in a house where one can't even think of getting restful sleep after slouching like a donkey for the entire day. So Bharti is shouting and cursing her old mother-in-law. Why? Because she cannot sleep due to Motibai's continuous coughing and sneezing. And she also continues to blame her husband for not keeping the marriage vows. Here you can see, why should you not care for my comforts when you have promised before the entire society and vowed before the holy God of fire to take care of me for the rest of my life? Now she reminds the narrator of the marriage vows taken before the Agni Dev. Agni ko sakshi rakhe, what we say, the Saptapadis and all the vows. She blames her husband. Why? Because according to her, he had promised her a comfortable future, and she is completely annoyed at being disturbed in her sleep due to coughing of her old mother-in-law. So this is Bharti, the younger daughter-in-law of Motibai. Now here things have changed. A span of 40 years has elapsed. And Rewari too, as one time a small village, has changed drastically. Here writer talks about the changing scene of Rewari. After 40 years, everything has changed. Rewari has developed into a semi-urban town and has many modern day amenities. And people have progressed too, as evident in the shape of bungalows and expensive vehicles of businessmen. So we can say that 40 years is a long period, and definitely everything has changed during this. Now he talks about the middle class and the people of the Rewari who now has started working in small offices at Delhi, either as clerk or as constables in Delhi Police Department. And they would travel every day from Rewari to Delhi by passing trains to attend their duties. Now here the narrator talks about the changing scenario in Rewari and how it affected the life of the middle class or common people. This change not only indicates lifestyle changes and improving infrastructure, but also indirectly points out towards changing morality and priorities of the middle class in a small town like Rewari. So here the writer says getting nostalgic. He says, I'm an original inhabitant of Rewari. My father was a small-time farmer in times when Delhi was still far away and had not come as near as it has now. Going to Delhi meant an inconceivably arduous journey on a bullock cart when Rewari was a small village of about 400 households, and when the civilized onslaught of ruthless progress had not yet knocked at the door of this village. He remembers the old days when he was a child and life was very simple. Here we can point out that the narrator criticizes the process of urbanization or modernization, which is an influence of metro life of Delhi. And he calls it as ruthless progress. Why? Because he still liked those old simple days when he was a child and lived a carefree and happy life. As he says, he was an original inhabitant of Rewari, and he remembers the carefree days spent in small village as a child, bathing in ponds and playing with friends when homework was not invented by schools. The narrator's childhood was free of all the worries of adult life. He also further says that my poor father expired quite early, leaving my 18-year-old elder brother and me entirely at the disposal of my prematurely old mother. Now, as we know, the narrator's father expired very early and left his 18-year-old elder son and the younger son, the narrator, at the disposal of his prematurely old mother. Now, why he says prematurely? Because after the death of her husband, Motibai suddenly became old due to the burden of rearing her children, due to the responsibility. And we can also say that due to social restriction of a widow's life, that suddenly she started looking old, even in a middle age rather. Now here, the narrator says that my elder brother got married the very next year and separated. after taking half of the share in the property, as was the practice of the day. After the death of the father, the eldest son got married immediately the next year, and as was the fashion of the day, they divided the property, the estate, whatever they had, the farm and the house, in two parts, one for the elder one and one for the younger brother. Now, Motibai, after this partition, decided to live with the narrator, as he was still a bachelor, and also it was a difficult task for her to withstand the abusive assault of her elder daughter-in-law. Now, this is specially explained or written by the narrator. He says, my mother preferred to stay with me. She knew that withstanding the verbal assault of her sharp-tongued daughter-in-law would be utterly impossible for her. I was a still bachelor then. Now, why? This shows that the elder daughter-in-law of Motibai was a sharp-tongued woman. She had no respect for Motibai, and that's why Motibai preferred to live with the younger son, because he was a bachelor at that time. And as is evident, we can see that she preferred because she could live a peaceful life with her younger son. Now, the narrator also remembers how partition of her house was a painful process for Motibai. When a wall was built dividing the house in two parts, she sadly witnessed the division of her house and family, but she accepted her destiny because somewhere she had hope in her younger son that he would definitely take care of her in the old age. So she preferred to live with him after the partition. Now here the third part opens, the third part of the story. And here the narrator depicts, we say, a morning picture of his house. Because he says, I saw my mother in the morning, her waist totally bent with the burden of age, coughing and slowly walking towards the corner of the courtyard to a makeshift hut which I had constructed with half-raised brick walls and a tarpaulin cover for the roof, right? Why? Because my wife would not allow her to sleep in our rooms. So as time rolled on, the narrator got married to Bharti, had one child named Raghu, and Bharti was also pregnant with another child. We'll come to know this in the progress of the story. He worked as a constable in Delhi police and lived on his meager income. Now here the narrator narrates this very, what we can say, a conspicuous morning scene when he says how his mother Motibai has bent from west due to old age, coughing all the time. Now the question may arise in your mind, why Motibai is coughing all the time? See, years of hard work and neglect had taken a toll on her health, and she has contracted the disease of TB, tuberculosis, and that's why she is coughing all the time. Now here, as the narrator says, Motibai cast a look of indifference towards her son. Why? Because he has forgotten all the love and care she gave him and protected him when he was a child. She continued working for her family while suffering from fever and never cared for her health. And in old age now, Motibai was forced to live in the corner of the courtyard in a makeshift hut of the house, makeshift hut built by her own son. That means her own son built a temporary shelter in the courtyard of the house, and she was forced to live there. Why? Because Bharti, the the younger daughter-in-law would not allow Motibai to sleep inside the house. That means she was not allowed to enter the house. Why? Because maybe Bharti feared that she would contract her TB, or she was annoyed by her coughing. And Bharti would always curse Motibai and send her out of the house because she could not sleep due to Motibai's coughing. And she also feared that she or her son might get infected with the TB. Now here in the last line, the narrator very distinctly points out that Bharti, my wife, had started her routine of washing the utensils, the other corner, muttering some incomprehensible curses, which all invariably directed either towards my mother or me. So we can see that Bharti is always annoyed with Motibai, and she is all the time cursing and shouting at Motibai. Okay. Now, Bharti would always complain about the narrator's elder brother. Now, what complaint she has, what complaint Motibai has, we can see that here, why don't you ask your brother to at least share some burden of rearing your imbecile mother? As it is, we find it difficult to make ends meet with your meager salary of a police constable. Raghu is ripe for going to school, and I am heavy with another child. In times to come, the expenses are going to increase. With your mother around, I'm sure my son will have to go without proper food. Bharti nagged me when I came back from duty in the evening, and it was a routine with her. So we can say that it was a matter of daily, it was a topic of daily conversation. When the narrator would return from his duty to home in the evening, Bharti would always ask him, why doesn't his brother contribute some money for the rearing of his mother? Okay, but what is the answer given by the narrator? She complained about my brother not contributing anything for the maintenance of our mother almost every day. It was a matter of every day. She also knew that my brother would never give any money to me. Now the narrator is very sure. He says that my brother will never be able to help financially, or he would never be able to bear the expenses of my mother. Why? What could be the reason? Because his situation being much more pathetic than mine. He had failed to make a mark in life and was surviving on the piece of agriculture land inherited from our father. Now we know that the narrator was a constable in Delhi Police Department. So somewhere we can say that he was in a better position, earning some salary. So his financial or monetary position was better. But his brother was not educated, and he used to make a living on the agriculture land which he had inherited from his father, and that was barely insufficient. Okay, it was utterly insufficient for him. To top it all, he had the misfortune of producing 3 daughters. His elder brother had 3 daughters, and it was a matter of big trouble for a poor man, especially in that part of India. Why? Because of the custom of dowry. He says that he had to think of arranging dowry for them in times to come, and the elder daughter was already reaching marriageable age. Though he had stopped talking to me a long time ago, I still empathized with his plight. I did not have the nerve to ask him for money. Now we know that this is a very, critical or a very typical situation in Indian families, especially in village areas, where we have the system of dowry, and the elder brother who used to make his who used to survive on that small piece of land would definitely face difficulties arranging dowry for 3 daughters. And we know that though Bharti would always complain about the narrator's elder brother for not contributing anything to the daily expenses of keeping his mother, but the narrator could never ask for any monetary help from his elder brother. Why? Because his elder brother was always worried about how to get married his 3 daughters and how to arrange dowry for them. So it was inevitable that the younger son, the narrator, who was a constable in police, Delhi police, had to bear the expenses of keeping Motibai, and Bharti was always angry about this. Okay. Now here the narrator has given a very few important details, but they are very, we can say, they make us think and they give us a glimpse of the personality of Bharti, or what kind of a mindset she had. Bharti prepared dinner as usual, and what she gave to Motibai as a meal, she gave only 2 rotis and a piece of onion, and she asked Raghu to carry this food to his dadi. Now, she also gave him a number of instructions. Do not sit there and listen to any of the stories which she might concoct for you, for those stories are not good for boys of your age. Get back immediately and tell her to clean the plate with ashes after she's done with dinner. She directed her menacing gaze towards me and continued, I do not want my children to suffer from TB. Bharti is always angry at her old and sick mother-in-law and cursed her continuously. She is very insensitive towards the needs of Motibai and deprives her even of a healthy meal. Bharti gave Motibai only rotis and onions to eat. She even did not allow her son Raghu to spend time with his grandmother. As is evident, she is inconsiderate about Motibai's old age and illness. On the contrary, the narrator tells us that Bharti used to relish ghee with the meal. She would, what he say, here we have, after I finished, Bharti took a wholesome, handsome helping of the ghee, which my childhood friend Mohan had given a few days earlier. Now, who is this Mohan? Mohan is a friend of the narrator who had become rich overnight with his big herd of cattle by selling milk, butter and other milk products at Delhi. And what he used to do, he used to get 1 kg of ghee free of cost every month to the narrator, and Bharti used to devour it religiously. She used to love the ghee. And what kind of food she gave to her old mother-in-law? Motibai was given only rotis and onions to eat, and Bharti used to have a healthy meal. So these small descriptions tells a big deal about the character of Bharti. Now here the 4th part begins, and what we have here we have a conversation between the narrator and his son Raghu, who is a young child or maybe 4 to 5 years old. Now, what actually happened, once Motibai expressed her desire to bathe at the confluence of the 3 holy rivers during the Kumbh Mela to wash off all the sins before dying. Okay. Now here we can, what we say, we can connect the meaning of the title. Actually, the meaning of the word salvation is the saving of a person from sins, or in Marathi, we can say moksha or papa vimochan. So according to the Hindu religion, Kumbh Mela or the Triveni Sangam at Allahabad, that is the confluence of three rivers, is known or is worshipped, and people go there and bathe in the Ganga river, because it is believed that it wash off all the sins before dying. Okay, so Motibai expressed her desire to go to the Kumbh Mela and sent message with Raghu. Now Raghu is full of question. As we know, children are silent observers, and he asked a number of questions to his father. Baba, Dadima says that next week the Kumbh Mela is starting in Allahabad. She wants to bathe in the confluence of three holy rivers on the auspicious days of Kumbh. She says she wants to atone for her sins before she starts her journey to the other world, Baba. Now, here we have questions asked by Raghu. Where is this other world? Is it as good and big as this one? Do they also have buffaloes and dogs? Why does Dadima want to go to the other world? Now, a very, what we can say, crucial question. Why she want to go to the other world? Is it because you never speak to her? Or Mai keeps shouting at her when you are not around? Raghu came one evening and disclosed the desire of my mother to go to the Kumbh Mela, and simultaneously shot a volley of innocent but very profound questions. See, children are silent observers. The questions Raghu asked are innocent but honest. Unconsciously, he observes the ill treatment given to his grandmother by his parents, and that's why he very innocently asks his father, is it because you you never speak with grandmother and my mother always keeps shouting at her? Is it the reason that the Dadima wants to go to the other world? But finally, the narrator had no answers to these questions actually. But somewhere in mind, he was preparing himself to how to put this proposal before Bharti, now his wife. Why? Because the personality of the narrator is very submissive, and he lacks willpower to take any decision without the approval of his wife. And Bharti doesn't have any sympathy towards the old lady, Motibai. And narrator was afraid to ask her about Motibai's wish to visit Kumbh Mela. But somehow he muttered up the courage and he asked, well, Munna, let me talk to your mother about these things. We will take you, no, here we have, mother wants to go to the Kumbh Mela, you know. I broached the topic during dinner, the only time when Bharti remains a little sober, perhaps due to her preoccupation with cooking, and waited for her to reply. But Bharti kept looking at the cinders strangely and did not say anything, which was so opposite to her nature. Now, when the narrator put the proposal before the Bharti didn't give any reaction, as was her nature. Perhaps she was alarmed at the mere mention of the expenditure ahead, that she found no words to convey her shock. And she also must have been angry at the audacity of my mother to make such an demand. Now the narrator was trying to guess what actually was happening in the mind of Bharti. Why? Because Bharti remained silent for a long time. Even during night, she kept on twisting and turning from one side to the other. And definitely she was thinking about something. Now, though the narrator put the proposal fearing that Bharti would disagree, but he tried to convince her in the pretext of taking her for an outing. As here he says that I should get an opportunity to take you to Kumbh. You know, the Mela takes place only once in 12 years. I tried to keep her in good humor and threw an incentives for soliciting her consent. Okay. But Bharti remained silent for a long time. The narrator was puzzled as to what she was thinking about. But surprisingly, next day, Bharti delightfully agreed to the proposal to take Motibai to Kumbh Mela for the holy confluence. Confluence means Sangam, the Triveni Sangam. Now, she proposed to keep Raghu with her parents, and certainly the narrator is very surprised to see Bharti's willingness to fulfill Motibai's desire. However, he is unable to understand her eagerness and also fails to read her intentions. Something was cooking in her mind. Now here you have the actual pictures of the Kumbh Mela, and we know that lakhs and lakhs of people visit Kumbh Mela during the that period particularly. Now, so finally, we know that the narrator, Bharti and Motibai, all three reached to Allahabad by a bus. It is cold January, and nobody, right? And the narrator says that nobody except highly religious people would think of bathing in the holy confluence of the sacred three rivers. Motibai, however, is very happy, and she praises Bharti and the narrator for fulfilling her wish. At Allahabad, they spent the day at the holy confluence of three rivers, and Motibai is very pleased to see the religious gathering at the Sangama. Now, why they spend day at the, what we say, the bank of the river, on the bank of the rivers, also had one more side when the narrator says that we decided more out of necessity than out of custom to spend the day at the Sangam itself, since it meant saving a lot of money. Otherwise, they would have found some lodging facility and had to spend some money. So they spent the day at the Sangama, and Motibai was very happy to see all the religious processions going on at on the bank of river Ganga at the Triveni Sangam. Now during night, they decided to spend night at a big shed erected by some philanthropic organization. There are a number of philanthropic organizations who do a great job and great service to all the pilgrims who come to visit the Kumbh Mela. So during night, they found one such big shed erected by some philanthropic organization with a charge of 4 rupees and free food. The shade is highly crowded. Why? Because hundreds of pilgrims are resting in it. And during night, Motibai is asleep peacefully. She is very happy and satisfied. Why? Because her wish was going to be fulfilled the next day, and that would wash off all her sins and attain her a better life in the next birth, as was her belief. Now, as per the Hindu religion, bathing at the confluence of sacred three rivers helps to wash off all the sins of present birth and life. So particularly that shed was very congested, and during night the narrator could not sleep for a long time due to the heat and humidity that aroused in that shade, and wished to go back to the comfort of his own house, right? Once they finished the rituals the next morning. But Motibai slept very peacefully. Why? Because she was satisfied. She was very happy that finally her younger son and younger daughter-in-law has fulfilled her final wish to visit the Kumbh Mela and to bath in the confluence of 3 holy rivers that would wash off all her sins. And she would definitely get a better life in the next birth. Now, Motibai was silently and peacefully sleeping in that shed. Now here, the writer says that at midnight, he felt a slight tug at his shoulder and Bharti awakens him. Why? She woke me up and led me by my arms outside under the clear sky. In the illumination of the moonlight, I wondered what could be so urgent that it would not wait for the morning. And it was a very shocking thing for the writer that what was so urgent that and what was her wish, why Bharti awoke him. But Bharti took him outside the shade and declared her wish. Let us get back to Rewari immediately. I don't think I will be able to stand the cold here. I am feeling sick and tired. I want to get back at home as soon as possible, Bharti uttered in an urgent whisper. Now the narrator was shocked. He doesn't understand how they can go back without bathing. He wants to fulfill his mother's desire to bathe at the confluence, but Bharti goes on insisting. She asked the narrator to leave that place immediately, but without telling Motibai. She says, I'm not denying that. I'm not saying that we should go back with your mother. She may stay back here as long as she wants. We would live without telling her anything. It is not proper for us to disturb her in her sleep now. Now, this was the actual intention of Bharti, right? Now, that was the most chilling and shocking proposal for the narrator. The narrator realized Bharti's intentions, but kept asking stupid and irrelevant questions like, how will she take care of her? How will she come back? I mean, all these questions didn't have any meaning. Still, he says, I kept on asking these stupid questions. Bharti knew that Motibai will not be able to survive long due to the tuberculosis, the TB she had. She wanted her to stay there forever at the mercy of some philanthropic organization till the end of her life. The narrator clearly understood her intentions. And to show generosity, she leaves a mat, a rug, and some food for the old and sick mother-in-law. And finally, they abandon Motibai at Kumbh Mela to the care of God and Goddess Ganga. The narrator proves to be an absolutely unworthy son, as he did not object to the intentions of Bharti, his wife. And he also concludes saying that he noticed a utter relief on the face of his wife. And we can say that the end of the story is really very tragic. So this is the end of the story. And now as far as narrative technique is concerned, then Sisodia has made use of 4 major narrative aspects of story. They are a good plot, good characters and point of view, and also a good writing style. Now we can conclude with this that wife of a small-time farmer, Motibai's life was full of struggle and hard work. After the death of her husband, the difficulties of her life increased. Motibai becomes vulnerable due to the insensitive attitude of her own children. The narrator and his elder brothers are submissive and fails to support their mother. When Motibai's daughter-in-laws abused her and showed utter disrespect, none of her sons stood in her support. And finally, her own children abandons her at the Kumbh Mela to the mercy of fate. So that is the end of the story, a very beautiful and a thought-provoking story. And it also highlights, we can say, the sacrifices a mother makes for her family and her children. Thank you. Let me stop sharing. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Archana Deshmukh, Madam, for delivering such a wonderful lecture.
Welcome, sir.
Now I invite Dr. Vaishali Meshram, Madam, to propose a formal vote of thanks. It's over to you, Vaishali, Madam.
Yeah, thank you so much very much, sir. Thank you so much, madam, for your scholarly, enlightening, and resourceful session. I'm sure that students must have got immensely benefited by your talk. I, on behalf of the cluster colleges, wish to extend my sincere and heartfelt thanks to you for accepting our invitation, sparing your valuable time for us, and enlightening our students with your excellent presentation. Thank you so much, madam. I also wish to thank Dr. Apurva Pal sir and his technical team for the technical support and assistance for the smooth conduct of this program. Thank you so much, sir. With the consent of the organizer, I declare that today's session is over. Thank you all once again. And dear students, we will meet tomorrow at 10 a.m. Sharp. Till then, take care and happy learning. Thank you all once again. Have a great day ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Archana ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Ajit Chachak, sir. A special thanks to you.
See you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Sir, end meeting, na?
हाँ